Hi, everyone. This is Todd Talks. I am with Omega Jones, also known as that Critical Bard, and
Me.
we're building a character today. Tell me about the character we're building.
Hi. We're building a character that I have grown to love a lot. I debuted him on D4. He is a Dragonborn Druid Cleric named Kuzima. He's an interesting one. He has a lot of flaws and a lot of, every character has a tragic backstory. But the thing about Kuzima is that he was born without the ability to produce his own dragon fire, and it made him an outcast in his clan. And he's worked hard to try to get that fire back, both figuratively and literally. And on the way, he met some beings and did some things. And yeah, so he's a fun character, and I love him to death. Mm.
Yeah, the background. You were telling me the backstory before the show, and I'm like, oof.
Yeah,
It's really good.
and I won't get too into detail just because some of it's a little trigger warning. But basically, in this fire in a forest where he just wanted to just be like, I'm done. This what he recognized to be some kind of draconic entity of whatever appeared in the flame, was like, no, 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 I have more with you. You aren't done. Let me show you why. And basically, from that fire, he put out that fire, and the thing that was left was a small little fiery salamander that sits on his shoulder. So that was the beginning of his wildfire druidness. And yeah, he's fun.
Yeah, I have a deep affection for Dragonborn, and I'm very tempted to start playing a Dragonborn character I've made because of the art is amazing, by the way. Like right now
uh
we've got your portrait, but and so you're not seeing the full amount. Can I actually send this to you, and will you have time to put it up, because it is it's art. You're too quick.
and art was bundled on Twitter. They're MC Weeto, MCWEETO. They are the resident character artists for D4. And yeah, and that's his little fire salamander. He's so cute. His name is Zawadi.
It's so
Um,
good.
yeah, it makes me happy.
And wildfire druids, I mean, before we get into it, whoo, they are blasters.
Wildfire druids are the ones. Because I will not lie to you, I'm not a big fan of druids,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm specifically not a big fan of druids because I hate the druid spell list. Because
Mm-hmm.
95% of it is concentration. It just annoys me so much.
It was
And
brought up
then,
yesterday on
yeah,
the heroes.
but then, like the ones that aren't concentration, like if you're not playing like a naturey, grassy cleric, I mean, a druid, they don't make sense. Like I'm not going to be producing vines or whatever I can do. This is not my thing. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
it's a weird set of spells, but whatever, it's cool. I think the wildfire was able to pull some other flamey spells in, but also just like the flavoring within it itself is just because fire is nature. So I'm glad that they finally showed that in a subclass.
Now I need that ice druid.
I need to ice through it. Yeah, I mean, to me, yeah, I mean, technically, yeah, ice is still part of nature, so let's do it.
Yeah. Let's jump in. Let's first off, thinking it's gonna be a Dragonborn.
No, he's totally an Eric Okra.
Oh
Uh,
crap. This is a setup.
a whole
Everyone knows how I
setup.
feel about Eric Okra.
How do you feel about Eric Okra?
I don't know what my problem is with Eric Okra.
Other than their flying ability at first level,
Yeah, they're in their ridiculous flight ability. Also, like I feel like anyone can walk into an inn and everyone's like, okay, but then an Aarakocra walks in. And
what does that even mean?
and your campaign changes. Because this person just is flying from town to town. Like, I have so many questions. Like, do they often get like delivery job? Like you're on Aarakocra. Your life is totally different. Your life is different.
But what if Let's flip it and reverse it.
Yeah,
Let's say you're in an inn. You're in an
Yeah.
inn, and some humans or some half orcs or some elves, whatever, they're walking in, whatever, and then you see a trident. You would think the same thing. There's no water around here.
Yeah.
Where are you?
You
Can
do-
you just swim? I don't know. Are you talking to the fish in an aquarium in the fucking buffet in the restaurant that we have?
Yeah, it becomes
Like,
it becomes Batman v Superman pretty quick, or or Justice League.
I'm
It
just
becomes,
saying, other than the ability of them flying, I don't think there's anything wrong with an
I
Aarakocra.
don't think
I
there's
love
anything
that.
wrong with them either. Our community manager Lauren Urban is obsessed with Aarakocra. I'm sure I would play a Raven Aarakocra, or I would play an Owl Aarakocra in a heartbeat.
Mm.
So if I
So
had that option,
I had not to like derail, but I was in a campaign that was very short lived. But I had to care. I brought up wanting to play an Aarakocra, and the DM had the same idea. He was like, they can't fly at first level, and I don't know if I'm comfortable with that. And I said, okay, so let's do this. They were an Aarakocra, and they were doing some stuff with their tribe or whatever, and they got into an air fight with a gargoyle because there's history between gargoyles and Aarakocra, and the gargoyle ripped off one of their wings and they hit the floor. Bam! And they met a artificer who basically built them a metal wing.
oh
And so
wow,
as they leveled up, they got the ability to regain their flight. So like at third level, they can like hover a little bit, and then at fifth level, they could glide. And then when we got to a higher level, they would actually get their full flying speed back. That's how we did it. But
yeah,
I get that it can be problematic, but also I'm like, if you're a DM, you can make your campaign so you can't really fly much. How about that?
yeah. I mean, if you're flying, you're also a giant target for everything on land. Like everyone can see you. It's line of sight. It's not an ideal situation. Yeah, or Kira, done by Lauren, also had a similar path. She grew wings and had to learn how to use them, and that was a very long path.
I love that though.
So Dragonborn, we're doing the
Dragonborn.
Dragonborn.
We are the borneth of the dragons.
I'm so glad that they're in D&D.
We
And
just
not
a normal
any
Dragonborn.
critical role versions, just
Nah,
the straight.
we didn't even look at them when we played them. We made them
Okay.
up.
All right. So you have draconic ancestry. What did you go with here?
I am a red dragonborn.
I love
Very
red.
red. But I wanted them to, like you saw in the art, I wanted them to look almost black, almost like they were extinguished.
Oh, nice.
So they're still red, but they're just a really, really deep red.
Right.
It really shows that they were born different.
That weirdness of like coals and burning wood when you like look into the fire, and it's like it looks like dark light.
And actually, a little fun fact for you, because I believe names have virtue and meaning. Kuzima in Swahili actually means extinguished.
That's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
I obsess about names.
I am too.
Yeah.
I am too.
I would drive everyone around me about names and say, yeah, I'm the worst. I'm like, how about this? And then they find that thing that they can make fun of it with. And then you're like, why do I do anything then? All right. So Red Dragonborn. And correct me, so has this character ever gotten their fire ability back to breathe?
So in the last episode of I guessed this character 3 times with D4. In the last episode, he didn't know if it was a fluke or whatever, but basically, he felt this warmth within him, and he knew that something was going on, and he tried it, and he did it for the first time in his life. So now going forward, in canon, he can do this ability. Normally, it's like you can get it back on once a short rest or a long rest. He can do it once per week.
Okay. Okay.
So it's one of those, like, he doesn't really have it, but it's like as you do more and you do more for the Lord of Fire, the fire gives back to you. So yeah, he can do it, but not really.
So I can already tell that you were like very much in it for the performance, because I love putting flaws on a character and not getting anything back.
Exactly.
I enjoy it.
And I wanted this character to, I wanted something that they struggled with, and it really was a catalyst of who they are. So him not having this fire ever led him down this path of trying to figure out what he was, if he was even worthy of being a Dragonborn or being in this clan. And then that fear and what happened after that led him to the Lord of Fire. And now he's such not a zealot, but he knows that he has no reason to think that this Lord of Fire could be anything but what they are, because they've given him so much. They've given him Zawadi. They've given him this ability to manipulate fire in ways that he's never been able to do before. didn't necessarily come from within until recently, but now that there's purpose again, and so
Mm-hmm.
now that purpose isn't just regaining that power within, but also like, what do you want in return, Lord of Fire, for giving me this thing I've always needed? So that's also his purpose, making sure that he's on that path. So there's a lot of layers to it, but I love him.
I always like that also that weird dividing line of and I feel like Magic and D&D has gone a little bit more to that point is like, what if this character finds out all of the power has been within this whole time?
Mm-hmm.
What are the implications of dealing with a character that maybe like who knows? Like,
Mm-hmm.
when you look at even say Critical Role and the Traveler, well, is the Traveler really giving Jester the magic or not? Like,
Or is
are
it her?
clerics actually
Yeah.
getting this power from the gods, or is there a little bit of chicanery happening? Right? Like,
Yeah, and I think there's a cool theme of what I mean, specifically for Kuzima, what fire is, because we know that fire is natural. So is it something that he just knows, or is it something that he's gaining? Is it something he's manipulating or creating?
mm-hmm,
And I like that fight,
mm-hmm.
because it's going to shape what he becomes in the future. Which I don't know yet because I haven't played him at that point. But
That's the best thing about playing characters is that weird journey.
mhm.
It gets weirder.
Yeah, it gets weirder. Exactly, it gets a lot more weird.
Yeah, I've been playing my character since I was 8, and now I don't know what's wrong with him.
Well, to be
Like,
fair, I've only been playing D&D for the past now 4 years, which is
that's a long time.
that is long, and I don't think about it, but
That's
it's just like,
college.
yeah, you're right. You're right on that one.
uh, what, and you obviously we're talking about a druid today,
Hmm.
and yeah, wildfire druid is the most fiery class there is right now. Like, you could have
Yeah,
gone draconic
other
sorcerer, but
than yeah, other than like if you want to be like an evocation wizard, because everybody thinks fireball, but
yeah.
yeah, no, he is a wildfire, a druid.
And
Mm.
given that you like wandered into a wildfire, I don't know that you have like that character would have absolute control,
No,
right?
not
As a
not not yet.
evocation wizard would.
Yeah.
What level are you at right about now?
So this character is interesting. We can make this one more wildfiery, but he started off as a druid because it was about just figuring out, and
Mm-hmm.
it's also personality, not personality, but like character growth as well. He started off trying to understand what fire was because he's never known it. So that's
Mm-hmm.
where the druid aspect is revering this nature, this thing, and then as he learned more about the Lord of Fire, that shifted into cleric.
Okay.
That shifted into light cleric.
Well, let's make it
Um,
like you want it to be.
Cool.
So,
So he right now he is four. If you want to use like levels, he has 4 levels of Wildfire Druid.
okay.
Mm.
We'll do that first, and then we'll go on to ability scores. So, what are you proficient in, do you think?
He is proficient in if I remember correctly, I don't want to go and look at my thing. He's proficient in perception and religion. I think is what,
Mm-hmm.
because he needed to know everything that was going around him, but also no, I'm sorry. He's proficient in perception and nature.
Okay.
I think he
Yeah.
got religion later. But I was like, no, he's not religion, not yet.
Literally, literally got
Literally, he
religion
got
later.
religion later. But yeah, so I picked perception and nature, and yeah, it's about him trying to understand and know everything around him, plus literally fire. Um,
Yeah, we
and
got
then
the
yeah.
Unearth Arcana Circle of Wildfire. You have to make sure you have that checked off when you're making a character on D&D Beyond.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll do the ability scores first before we bump them up. And this is really what I love about this, and Megan played this as well, is the little tiny wildfire spirit that you get with that. It's
Exactly.
she named hers Cinder. Um,
That's cute.
yeah, I thought it was adorable.
Oh, because Zawadi and Swahili, if I remember correctly, it's like flame or lit or something, like it's like the beginning of a flame.
Mhm.
So that's what he is. And also, I didn't think about it when I made him, but then I realized, oh, if you've seen Frozen 2, the fire elemental is a little small little salamander who like
I
licks his
haven't
yeah.
watched it yet.
Oh,
Am
it's
I a
so
terrible
cute.
person? Is it good? Is it good? Okay.
You know what? It's pretty good to me, and I like the fact that they really wanted to respect like the Sami culture and all those things, and
Mhm.
I did like it. I liked it a lot.
Okay. So we got some spells to choose.
Yes, we have some spells to choose.
They're all concentration.
They're all freaking concentration, and it makes me so mad. It's like I get it, but I don't, and it's whatever.
Yeah.
But for cantrips, I'm pretty sure that I picked control flames
Mm-hmm.
because obviously control flames and produce flames because they are different, y'all. They are subtly different. And it's about so there's something I used to always joke about as a kid when it talks about like powers and stuff. It's like, do you just want to be somebody who manipulates fire, or do you want to be
Mm-hmm.
somebody who can actually manifest fire?
Right.
So this was his idea of he's starting to be able to do both through this druidic through this form of studying nature. So yeah, he has control flames, produce flames, and druid craft, obviously, because
If you
need
vaguely remember the old X-Men movies, the kid who played Pyro,
pyro. Yes, John
had to use a
Allardyce.
lighter and
Mm-hmm.
then could control flame, but couldn't
Yes.
produce fire themselves.
Mm-hmm. Well, in comparison to Iceman, who could just bring
all
it
of it.
Yep.
But he's also Iceman, so he
He's
needs a
also
little bit of a lift.
Valid.
I do love that fight in Days of Future Past, though. I was like,
I don't remember that fight.
oh, no, everyone's fighting together. You got Pyro. I think someone who is kind of like Pyro in there. You
Wait,
got
Days of Future
Iceman.
Past or X3?
Days of Future Past, right when they're being attacked by the Sentinels. It's a future that doesn't exist, kind of thing. They revamp it, so it's like the Sentinels are attacking at the very first few minutes. I think it's definitely Iceman. I don't know if they would just recast Pyro, like Pathfinder's in there, Blink's in there, like a whole bunch of X-Men you've never seen.
And Bishop's in there.
Yeah.
I just remember seeing Pyro, but it probably does. Good luck.
Yeah, because like Pyro's burning down one of the Sentinels, and the Sentinel learns fire and then uses fire against.
Against yeah. Okay.
Yeah. It was just weirdly well.
Sunspot, not Pyro.
Oh, it's Sunspot?
I was like, no, I never remember Pyro. It's Sunspot. Yeah.
Oh,
because
okay.
it's
I feel like they were done with Pyro at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, Pyro's.
Okay, that makes sense then.
For spells, other than I took Druidcraft, and then for actual leveled spells, I took Cure Wounds because needed to make sure that fire can heal. Kira. Fire can heal. I took Detect Magic because you need, in my opinion, no matter what you're playing, you need a good balance of spells in your arsenal, and you need some ritual spells so you don't always have to use that spell slot. So get that Detect Magic in there. I took Entangle because what I started doing as well is if some of these spells don't make sense, make them make sense for you. So with like Entangle, you summon this bed of vines that kind of wrap around and get you whatever. But when he cast it, all the vines are ashen and frail and smoky, and it's still them, but it's just them in a burnt state.
Right. Maybe you're summoning them from when they were destroyed.
Exactly, when they were destroyed, and now they're coming to assist your druidicness.
You're like reversing the effects of the fire, and that's what's causing it to be overgrown is fun.
Exactly. What else did I do? I didn't take any more first levels, I think at that point. I took Healing Spirit. Because I wanted this idea of so I like tying in the wildfire spirit. He would like jump down and then start to make a little circle in this area, and then fire would appear, and then he just kind of be there, just like, hi. It's like, you need some assistance. So yeah, Zawadi is the cutest thing ever. If you ever get to play with him, you will see. I love him. I took Heat Metal and act. Oh wait, did I take? Did I
No,
take
we gotta. Yeah, we're weirdly out
No,
of
I didn't. No,
spell
no, no.
slots because we gotta get cleric levels now.
Cleric levels. That's why some of them were
Yeah.
cleric levels. So you're correct. Let me live.
So let's do abilities. How did you do it? Standard array, manual, point by.
I did manual. I got the roll. I got the roll
Okay,
for
okay,
this.
okay.
And I'm that person. If I roll like, so here's just the blunt truth. I kind of hate when people are like, I'm going to roll. Oh look, there's all 16s. Ha 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 ha. It's like, oh no.
It's so common. Especially when you're a kid, you're like, oh, it's
Yeah.
weird. I got 3 18s on this character that I've been rolling like by
Right.
myself
It's like, did
for a
you
day.
really? So I rolled a 17 and I rolled a 9. So I was like, okay, okay,
It's
okay.
good
Now
though.
anything else I will be okay with. Luckily, the dice loved me that day.
Mm-hmm.
So I put the 17 in wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
I put the 9 in strength because I wanted it to be this idea that he was a weaker version of what
Yeah.
he was supposed to be. So he was not strong. Actually, there was a point in D4 when it was like, can you lift something? He's like, no, I can't. I rolled I rolled 3 14s, which I was like,
Wow.
hey.
Yeah, that's
Hey.
good. That's good. That's
Yeah.
good.
So dexterity got a 14. Constitution got a 14.
Uh-huh.
And because I knew that he would be not necessarily, I don't like the idea of a preacher cleric, but someone that needed to just be naturally just more open to people. I put that last 14 in charisma.
Okay.
Because that's also if he needs to intimidate somebody, he can. And then I rolled a 12, so the 12 went to intelligence. Because not that
That's solid roll. I mean, that's all like.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm not mad at that. But I was saying that point earlier to say I'm that person where if I roll a number over 16, I am going to put a negative somewhere.
Yeah.
Like just balance it out. You don't need to be the best at everything. Because here's the thing, I can have a 17 in wisdom and keep rolling natural ones. It happens.
I love playing characters with like really low wisdom. I like showing that kind of like effect of like being unwise or like, yeah, it's great. It's nice having a weakness. It's always a
Agreed.
character moment.
Mm-hmm.
It's always like a fantastic. I love flaws, either in character
Agreed.
or in stats. Like
Yeah.
as you know, you have played with a character who is the victim of their own bullshit, right? Like they're constantly doing. They can't not pull a
Mm-hmm.
trick. They can't stop being tricking people, but to the point of themselves. It's kind of Loki and hubris. Loki and those kinds of characters are always their own problem. So you should always have the seeds of your own destruction within your own character, I think.
Mm-hmm. I have another character who I almost built today. I was telling you, named Sigma, and he's a Warforged Bard. And he is the hottest of messes because his intelligence is crap. I remember actually it was one time that we were doing the one shot, and they were like, we need to make sure this person's protected. He was like, oh, I can do that. Invisibility. And they're like, but that's not gonna help right now. And then Celeste was like, but what about us? Are you going to help us too? Like, oh, you need help too? Okay. Invisibility, completely ignoring this person. And Celeste is now invisible. And it's like, what was the point? He's like, I helped. But that's how he thinks. But I love those characters, like their own, just what they are. It can be a flaw in itself, but it's not like going to be super detrimental, but it's something. It adds to the flavor.
Yeah. I love playing I also play a Warforged too, is not the brightest light in the universe, but super giant and strong.
Oh.
And my wife was like, okay, she has this great like weird voice, and I can't even replicate, but she's like, Rand, we're gonna go into this entire cave of goblins. Make sure that if any of them hear you, you gotta kill them, otherwise we'll die. But Rend was very polite, and every time he went somewhere, he's like, "Hello." And then they would look at him, and and he was like, "Oh no,
oh no,
I have to kill you now."
Why
so
would you
dark.
do that? Why would you do that?
Because Ren doesn't know. Ren was trying to be polite, and then it was dark. Yeah, that's why I play. All right, let's get with that happy story. Bring the room down. We're going to go cleric. Oh, first
Yeah,
off, we have some ability score improvements. Now, your strength did end up at, I believe, 11
boosted
because of your
boosted a
boost.
little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But not to the point that's like anything super.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
But I still wanted it. It's still his lowest stat. So
Yeah.
I wanted it to be clear that like he's not the strong one. So if he tries, it's not going to be like the best, but it's not going
And
to
you're
be.
always allowed to play. Everyone like gets too involved in stats. You're allowed to play against something more if you want to.
Mhm.
Like, you don't have to. Like, it comes up all the time. Like, oh, you have 18 wisdom. You must have your stuff together. No, maybe you're just like super hyper aware and you have like
Yes.
panic disorder, and like that's the origin of your
Mhm.
wisdom. You just know what's
Yeah.
happening all the time. Uh,
Um.
so we got
For
ability score improvement or a feat.
I took improvement and I bumped up his wisdom and I bumped up his charisma.
Okay.
Um. Because and truthfully, when I built this character, it's like when you build a character and then you start playing them, you just learn more about them.
Yeah.
And he didn't talk. He didn't like actively talk as much. So he has a high charisma, but he doesn't use it as much as he
Mm-hmm.
needs to. But he
Be like
can
a
if
physical
necessary.
charisma of just like
Yeah,
when
yeah,
you're
he has
trying
this
to scare
presence.
someone.
Yes, yeah, he has this grandiose, just vibe that when you see him, you walk into the room and you see his smoldering scale mail and just
Mm-hmm.
the literal flaming lizard on his shoulder. You're like, what was that?
I mean, fire and light inherently has charisma. You look towards it.
Exactly. Oh, that's smart. Fire inherently has charisma. You're right though. Um, you're right.
And now we're gonna add some cleric.
We added some cleric. And when I first thought about this, so running gag D4. If there's a Dragonborn, they're cleric of some form. So there was Kaiservek that Mark Mir played, and then Okira came on with the Dragonborn, and then when I came on, I was like, I'm making a Dragonborn. I have to. So they originally were going to be a nature cleric because I was thinking
Hmm.
fire and nature, but then like I hate nature clerics. They're
Hmm.
too greeny for my taste. So I was like, you know what? It's not, like Okira's the original OG Dragonborn light cleric, but he has light cleric tendencies as well.
Okay.
So he is also a light cleric.
Okay.
But
Nice.
again, flavoring stuff is not. It's less about radiant light for him. He's still
Hmm.
based out of fire.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and he's 3 levels of light cleric.
It's got a lot. I mean, it's got a lot of fire-based spells.
Yeah, exactly. The sad part is I was just too low in each one to get fireball.
The
Don't have fireball yet.
day will come. Maybe when you're on Beyond Heroes, you'll get that fireball.
Maybe.
So light domain,
Mm-hmm.
and then you get that warding flare, which is really great.
I do, and I never got to use it.
Oh wow,
But
yeah. Or
I was
Kira like
never.
shoots that out every time.
I never really get hit though.
Yeah, but
So
you can do it
people.
for other people, so that's the thing.
No, you can't. When
Uh,
you are
are
attacked.
attacked by a creature 3
Yeah.
feet, you can see use a reaction. Has Orcarial Drake's been using this wrong?
Oop, oop, oop. Well, but I mean, I've gotten attacked once. I did use it. I used it once, and it was because we were fighting this thing that apparently is a wild mount creature, the Aeolian absorber or whatever it's called. And basically, we realized that it was absorbing all of my elemental attacks. And it's like,
Mhm.
that's bad because literally, if you look at my spells, when
Yeah.
you give me more spells, I am all spell. I do have a quarterstaff, but I am all spell. And it was funny because we got blocked off, and it was just me and this thing. And I
Yeah.
was like, I can't do anything. Quarterstaff. And it did like 0 damage.
It's like you fighting Surtur, right? Like, or like a fire giant is just like, I don't feel like I'm the best equipped for this particular battle, so I would like to go now.
It was pretty funny.
Challenge Divinity, Radiance of the Dawn. This is pretty good.
Fun. That is pretty fun. I didn't get to use it, but I considered it. I had a chance to use it, but it just how the battle went, the turns right before. It's like, don't need it.
Yeah,
But I
you'd be
do like them.
surprised. A lot of things that you have just don't come into play until later. But we got some spells.
We do have some spells. And it's funny because I get Scorching Ray in both the Druid and the Cleric
Yeah, yeah.
spells. So clerics, y'all. I'm not saying, I'm not telling you what you need to do, but what you need to do is have guidance. Like, people need to stop forgetting about guidance.
Yeah.
If you are there, if you are right there, and actually, what I tend to do is like, did your character say that out loud? Like, if they're like trying to if they're trying to do a check, I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
would it be obvious to my character that you're looking for something? Yeah,
Yeah.
cool, guidance. I actually, because if I'm remembering correctly, and I might have been wrong, I'm sorry, D4, if I was, but let me blah 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 blah.
I'm being corrected.
What happened? Oh
Oh,
no.
at 6th level, that ability you can use that ability, the warding flare, on other people as well within 30 feet of you.
So okay, you're right. I flavored it this way, but I was still next to him. But whenever I use guidance, it was always Zawadi just going next to them and just like nuzzling into their neck because he's so warm.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, guidance I took. I didn't take light, which is weird. I didn't think to take it, but I should have. I didn't take light. I took Sacred Flame.
Okay, that makes a ton of sense.
Yes, do. I took Sacred Flame, and what was the last one I took? I took Spare the Dying.
Spare the Dying is hard not to take. It's one of those things.
You know, I played a Tempest Cleric. My first character ever was a Tempest Cleric of Talos, who was a butt face. And he was bad. Actually, he had a whole thing once. He was like, "Why am I here?" And Talos was basically like, "Use them as your shield." Oh, you're right. He was definitely neutral evil. But my DM was like, "Why don't you have Spare the Dying?" I was like, "I don't know, because he's not going to heal anybody. Because he's a butt face." He's like, "No, you Spare the Dying." I was like, "Fine." So yeah, Spare the Dying.
I just had an extended conversation about the fun thing about clerics or druids or like anyone who's a healer is you are kind of allowed to be a jerk in a way because you're still healing the party. And so you're playing against type. So you get away with a lot more. Like a paladin, you can be petty. Like that's always funny.
I had with this character, and I'm not gonna say what his name is because it might be too bad for the stream. Legit, it's my first character ever, and I said I want this character to be named this, so it is. But I played them in a way, and it was also me speaking through that character. I hate that people are like clerics are the healers. So if I can and with that mindset, the barbarian can then think they can do whatever they want. And it's okay. They can run into the crowd of goblins with things because the healer's going to heal them. And my character was like, if you don't pull your weight, if you act stupidly, if you act out of character, quote unquote, then yeah, you can suffer. I'm not going to heal you. I hope you got a healing potion.
I mean, if you ever played Overwatch or any team-based video game, we've all seen the tank rush out there and like, why am I not being healed? I'm like, because you're bad.
Because you did something you weren't supposed to do. Stop rushing out of my. Fine, leave. But
I'm not your mom.
Exactly. I also took Bless.
I love
me some Bless. Let me actually go to that real quick because my prepared spells are different.
I'll bet you did Cure Wounds, right?
I took Cure Wounds through Druid.
Oh, you did. Okay, that's right.
Yeah. I took Guiding Bolt.
Guiding Bolt is super powerful.
I got the ending kill. In the first fight that we had with Guiding Bolt.
Yeah.
I took Healing Word, Inflict Wounds. Inflict Wounds is powerful.
I don't care what anyone says is super powerful. I'm playing obviously a Trickery Domain Cleric right now. I use Duplicity. I get that advantage to every. And this is the only one that's a touch attack, by the way, if you're a cleric. That's it. Inflict wounds, you have advantage, then you do elven accuracy, then you have triple advantage, and then it's like you have sneak attack all the time. Yeah, it's brutal. 1d10.
Exactly. It's a d10. It's not a d8 or a d6, it's a d10.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's 3d10 on a hit.
Yeah, 3d10, and then it gets worse.
Inflict wounds is almost like if you're not like a life cleric, and you want to actually try to do something, even take it if you are a life cleric. It's just a nice backup.
I think it's a nice thing to flavor too, because I don't like you can say you're burning someone, right? Or like their flesh has become post burned, it
Yeah,
becomes ash or something, or you can do
exactly, and that's kind of how it flavored with Kuzima. It was like ashen after it was
yeah,
necrotically damaged. I took Shield of Faith because it's nice to have. I didn't really use it much, but it was there.
yeah,
My cleric go to is aid.
really okay.
I will always protect. I will always because it's like why not? It's not concentration. It lasts for 8 hours.
That's true.
And it's like you look at the folks who because here's the thing: DMs are mean. You have the tank in front, and they're like, "Let me hit that sorcerer in the back real quick."
Yeah, yeah.
So I go ahead.
No, and this is smart because it's not temporary hit points. Your hit point maximum is increased.
Exactly. Your
That's totally
maximum.
different. So they don't cancel each other out.
Exactly. So I always, and if I need to do myself, I will. But I always make sure I have the weaker ones in the group. Just boost them up a little bit when I
Mm-hmm.
can. So aid is my thing, and I think the last one I took in here was, of course, spiritual weapon.
Yeah, if you're not taking spiritual weapon, then you're just deciding not to have an extra attack as a cleric.
Exactly. And what did my spiritual weapon look like? I'm trying to remember. I think my spiritual weapon was. Oh, I do not remember exactly. And it's sad because one of my favorite things about clerics is flavoring their spiritual weapon.
Yeah.
It's so good. And actually, what I love that Jester does is when she casts it at a higher level, it even looks different.
Oh, yeah, that's a
So
good
like it's
point.
normally the lollipop, then it's a spiked lollipop at a higher level. Like I do like that. I don't remember what mine was. It was something flamey. I think it was a mace, not a mace. What is it? A flail. I think it was the flail, but the flail itself was like a flaming ball.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it was. I'm probably lying to you, but that's a good one. If you want to use that, use it.
Yeah, like Orkir Eldrix uses a flaming phoenix. I'm trying to because I'm actually a giant fan of Michael Fassbender's Magneto,
Mm-hmm.
and him using the coin is so dark. And
Yes.
yeah, in that first X-Men First Class, despite some terrible flaws, Magneto is done well.
You know what? I mean, that's obviously casting things because Magneto is supposed to be Romani and all these other things.
Yeah,
Jewish. So
absolutely.
I wish some of those things were honored, but like for what it was, Michael Fassbender did a really good job.
And Darwin
And
should
also,
be
I
alive.
want to marry him. So like,
yeah,
that's that. That's that.
That man is 0% body fat. That guy's never had an Oreo cookie in his life.
While we're here, I'm looking at some. I just want your opinion.
Yeah.
What do you think about silence being a ritual spell?
That is interesting. I've not actually thought about that.
Because it's
I've
so
never really
weird to
paid
me.
attention.
It's like I've only used it once, and it was actually at Sigma. I was like, I have it, I might as well, so I'll use it. And he's actually a beatboxing bard. He's literally an 808. He's an accompanist for his bard friend who got killed, and now he's by himself. But like we were in Avernus, and there's stuff around us, and we needed to move silently. Or we needed to do something, but do it silently. So I was like, nope, let's just silence our footsteps for a bit. But like it was just like it's such a weird one to put as a ritual because like in what time will you have 10 minutes to silence people around you?
I think setting up a trap or I think setting up a trap, maybe knowing that you are going to like destroy a wall of a castle, right? Or you're going to break down a door and you just really need that silence.
Yeah,
I can see the strategic value in that.
I can too. It's just for all the other ritual spells.
Right.
I was like, that's so. I mean, I'm not mad at it. I love it.
I mean,
keep it.
I wonder if the inspiration also was a little bit of like monks taking a vow of silence, and they're like, okay, let's move in that direction.
Possibly, and I mean, like I say, I'm not against it. It's just always like, huh?
I didn't even know until you said it.
I use silence a lot. I love using silence. It's like, no.
It shuts down almost all spellcasters. It's rough. All right, well, you're not saying nothing, so good luck. Also, all cleric, all their spells are semantic.
Yeah.
We got some questions in chat real quick. I don't want to ignore our chat too badly.
Of course. Yeah.
Question: what would you say is it about recent druid subclasses that makes them more appealing than the older ones, non-moon subclasses?
So again, I am a person who believes that there's so much more to nature. I
Mm-hmm.
don't care about the green thumb druid much because it's kind of played out. And apparently, and unfortunately, I've played with a lot of people who, when they are green thumb druids, they get so mad if you like step on a flower. It's like, how dare you besmirch nature, ma'am? It is a chrysanthemum. Calm down. But like, but I love that and I know it's not one of the Arnex Arcanas, but I love Spore Druids. Someone mentioned that. I
Mm-hmm.
love Spore Druids because they get to the part that is about decay
Mm-hmm.
in nature, because like their nature is a cycle. Life is in that, but death is in that as well.
Yeah.
So I really that better not be a wasp. Talking about nature, and I'm talking about nature.
Yeah, it's coming for you.
No,
Well,
I
speaking
can't.
of like an infestation druid would be super creepy.
It
Because
would be.
nature also lays eggs in you. So
Oh, stop. Why would you even do that?
I'm just saying, druids can be gross.
They can. But yeah, so I really like they're looking at other aspects of nature with these
Mhm.
new subclasses. Because other than other than wildfire, what's the other one that they created recently? I do not remember at all. Wildfire
They
and stars.
stars.
Which
Yeah, that's right.
which I do like the nature, the idea that what's out there is natural.
Mm-hmm.
So I do like that. But yeah, I really do like that they are just expanding, and I wonder what's next because they had a lot of Unearthed Arcana come out like week after week after week after week, which I'm
Oh
like,
yeah,
keep it
I was
up, keep
busy.
it up. I love it. I was busy.
I was busy. Like, okay, I'm gonna read this 18 times now. I love Unearthed Arcana. I love
I do too.
subclasses. It
Yeah.
just makes me imagine. It's like monsters. Getting new monsters gives me new ideas for stuff. It excites me. So I think that's you got some spell slots still left. So you got your spiritual weapon.
Do I?
Scorching
Wow.
Ray? No, that's always prepared.
That's always prepared.
Got Zone of Truth, Warding Bond,
What did I take?
Lesser Restoration.
Well.
Hold Person is dark if you got them in a
Person
bonfire.
is dark.
Yeah.
Oh, Prayer of Healing, just because it was nice to have, just in case.
Mm-hmm.
There we go.
There you go. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. But yeah,
Oh.
it was fun.
All right, so that means we go back and let's see. Did we miss any choices in the character classes? No, I think we did all the stat bumps. What was your background? What did you do for background?
Go back to Druid real quick because I'm trying to figure out how I have more spells here than you had over there.
Whoa! Things went very. Apparently, I'm doing a product placement.
Marketplace. Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden, available now. Not really, but
now everyone's going to see my 18 versions of characters here. There we
go. Copy of
copy.
Because in my build, I do have heat metal. I have lesser restoration. I have and I think locate animals already taken.
That's interesting. I will let's try to figure that out real quick. Edit character. Ooh, got that +7.
Yep.
So when you start hitting.
Look, don't mess with Kuzima. That's all I'm gonna say. He does not. He didn't.
I love that your own character is advocate.
I am
unabashedly.
No, yeah. Go to the Druid spells real quick.
Yeah,
I should be able to have. I don't understand why I don't.
So you got up to level 2.
Knowns.
Whoa! Known spells. So. Heat metal is leveled.
I knew we had more because I have heat. Someone came into the room that we were in D4, and they were wearing this weird metal thing, and we thought they were.
Oh, you did have more. Oh, yeah. You know what? You know why? Your wisdom went up.
My wisdom went up. Yeah.
We hadn't brought the wisdom up. I make this mistake all the time. I'm like, why don't I have more spells? This is so weird. And then I'm like, I didn't do this thing. You got more spells still.
Yeah, I had lesser restoration because just in case.
Hmm.
Um, I have Pass Without a Trace. And the
Which
Password
is
Trace is
so
also
good,
another
by the
one.
way. If you're not
I
using
love
that,
flavoring that one. I love flavoring that one to get fit you. It's not always about shadow. If you make like him, he literally had he had columns of fire within beneath everyone's feet,
hmm
and then ash from that fell, and that ash is what silenced everyone.
oh, that's so good.
And then my last one was obviously Moonbeam. If you're a druid, take Moonbeam. Just do it.
Let's see, Moonbeam. Yeah, Moonbeam is strong.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is such a druid spell. And how do you flavor this? How do you like to?
So for him, it was still light, but there was like a spiral of fire that was within it.
Yeah,
That just constantly like if you ever seen Prince of Egypt, and you know when Moses is talking to the God or whatever,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
like the column of fire just comes down and just blocks the Ramses and his group from getting past. That's kind of
yeah.
how I imagined it. It's just this column of light and fire just comes down.
I mean, and moonlight is just reflected off the sun, so I mean, maybe you're
Exactly.
magnifying it. Yeah,
Exactly. Um, but
this
yeah,
is fun.
this is a lot of fun.
This is a strong character. All right, let's see. Let's get to background. Then we got the spells figured out.
Hmm.
I love building characters. I remember I went to a very important live stream, which was a long time ago, and someone was like a celeb who never played, and they needed a 20th level character. I'm like,
Hmm.
let me just what do you want? He's like Dwarven Cleric. I'm like, give me 3 minutes. I'm like,
Yeah,
this is what I do. He's like, seriously? Like, this is how I go to sleep
I
at
can make a
night.
character like this. I can make a character if you need me. I got it.
And yeah, I only play one character. The irony is,
Hmm.
so what would you say the background for?
So I made him a far traveler. I made him someone who came from a
Yeah,
ways and had to figure out what he was. So a lot of traveling came with him.
I love
Um,
backgrounds.
I
Oh,
do too. So this is where he has insight, but he also took religion here.
mm, okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Uh,
this is like almost all of the common people and other folk that one might encounter along the Sword Coast to the north. Um, you're one of the lives that are ever traveling more than a few miles from where they were born. You're one of those people who has traveled very far away and
mhm.
seen things,
Yeah.
and that's a I mean that ties in very well with your backstory of kind of being alienated from your tribe
Hmm.
because you couldn't create flame and you went that set you wandering.
Yeah, he was wandering for a long time, and again, when he thought all was lost, this Lord of Fire was like, "I got you, my friend, my buddy, old pal."
Was some of this alienation like your clan of Dragonborn, or was it?
Yeah.
But was it also internally as well, kind of?
So I wanted this. So yeah, there's a two-part to it. I wanted this clan of Red Dragonborn to be all about strength, whether it's physical or inner. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to be about you should be able to survive yourself, survival of the fittest, and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
And for someone to be in the clan to not even be able to do the most base of Dragonborn things, which is to have this breath of fire, it's
Yeah.
like you're not worthy of being one of us. You can't even do that. And then but then it was like, we're gonna give you a chance. And of course, the one person who he went against was like this person who made his life a living hell. Actually, if you look in the art, he has a big scar across his eye that was
Yeah.
from this person who beat him in this match. And after this match, it was like, you're exiled. You are no longer one of us. You cannot. You just proved to us that you are not worthy. So
Oh god.
leave, or we'll do something about
That's the hard.
it.
That's an extra layer of like you even had the shot.
Exactly. You had the chance to prove yourself and failed.
Yeah. Yeah, that is way more layers than just like not only were you kicked out, but you were given a chance, and
Hmm.
then that has a it's a little more true to life, I think, in a lot of ways too. Like it's not like this simple comic book story. It's this
Hmm.
that way for some reason not valid, but you'd put that failure on yourself now because it wasn't just that you couldn't breathe fire. You fought this fight and you lost.
And
Uh,
actually, the sad part was the last thing he tried to do in the match was breathe fire, and
oh
it's like
no,
laughing stock because nothing happened,
no.
not even a puff of smoke. just laughing stock. And
that
then
hero moment that you see in every movie, but it doesn't
yes,
happen.
Yes, he was like, I got to do this. Meep.
Oh, this is breaking my heart. Okay. What other languages?
I took Primordial.
I love
From
that
the
stuff.
idea of fire, being able to speak Ignan.
Yeah.
And then he actually has a little lyre. And the lyre that he created was from the forest that was burning when he first received the blessing of the Lord of Fire. It was a piece of wood that he basically whittled and made into this lyre. So he carries it with. It's actually funny. Harold saw the lyre and was like, oh, "Are you a bard like me?" And because he was like,
"I love Harold. Don't tell him." That character is amazing. He just guested as Harold on Beyond Heroes yesterday.
I saw.
And I put that poor guy through so much. So fantastic role player as well. Just fantastic. I tend not to fill out all this stuff. It's a little granular.
It's because my stats are even different from that too. Like I don't have the ones they have in there.
I kind of have things. I've worked out things. I mean, I think they're helpful. Certainly, I think they're helpful. But like I think you approach things like I do in a very actory kind of way of like I have to understand all my motivations, and I can't sleep until I know.
Yeah,
and then that's all gonna change.
yeah, for sure.
So you got weapons and stuff like that. Is there anything that's unique that we should definitely put in here?
So other than starting equipment, his quarterstaff that I took for his starting equipment, actually, like if you look at in the art, it's a quarterstaff, but it kind of dips, and there's like this red fire opal ball that's in the middle of it. And it's actually the eye of the Fire Lord. That's what he knows. So it acts both as his holy symbol and his druidic focus. And it's placed within so it's just a regular quarterstaff, but I guess made it that it was ashen and burned, and again it was taken from the tree, one of the trees that was in. Yeah, that's kind of hellfire quarterstaff. Like not where I was going, but
Omega's like, no, well, I was like, can this be repurposed? I'm like, you're so going to the no, I don't know. I can't really make this a good thing.
No. So yeah, it was just a normal quarterstaff. He has smoldering scale mail. And we actually had this argument. Me and Dustin had this argument because he was like, you're wearing scale mail, but druids don't wear metal. And I'm like, my druid does, because my druid isn't a tree hugger. It is not a rule that druids can't wear metal. It's just a suggestion. And I'm like, my druid cannot care less about trees and flowers and stuff. He cares about fire. He cares about strength. So yes, he has smoldering scale mail, and you can't do nothing about it.
I mean, you don't know what the scale is.
Exactly.
No, it says you can though. You're proficient in it.
So,
no. And if you can heat metal, I mean, if in your fire, you think about, I mean, even if you were like a blacksmith, in that sense, like it just kind of like fire and metal just kind of goes together. And I'm on your side clearly, but
then he also has a cloak of protection. And again, you see it actually in the art, but it is like singed and almost like halfway destroyed. But that's the gift that's the last thing that this Lord of Fire.
Yeah, but that's the flavor. That's cool.
That's the flavor.
Yeah,
it still works. But
I love a magical item that looks like it's like maybe it's partially destroyed and then it became magical, and now that's its perfection. And I think that also says something. And that's it. We got an awesome
you got to
character
to the cloak, but
you're gonna have to be on Beyond Heroes now because I've fallen in love with this character.
Look, I love Cosima, and look, we've talked about Cosima and Okira have to meet because they are totally different Dragonborn-like clerics.
But like, coming in from two different locations, because I know all about her backstory, and those interconnecting is like, whoo, that's a conversation. Yeah, that's this is really good. I don't know. I'm pretty impressed.
A fun one.
I don't know if this is going to come off on change frame. You gotta have fire. It'll probably now we're doing screen sharing, so you're not going to get the
full effect. Yeah, I do. I don't have the fire one. I have the ember one, so it's just like subtle.
Where's that? Where's the ember one at? There's so many frames now.
It's in the Avernus one. but it's
Oh,
not
okay,
the it's
yeah.
not the flame. It's just the embers. Or yeah, animated embers.
Hair on fire.
Hair on fire. Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what that looks like. I'm just curious.
It just
Oh, that's
it's
good. That's
yeah, just
nice.
very subtle.
Whoa, that's so cool with the art.
Mm-hmm.
The
I'm like,
coloring
that's
is
what I
like
wanted.
right dead on. That's so cool. I'm a giant nerd. Okay. Well,
I
thank you
love
so much.
this
That's
character.
Kuzima. That's the right way to say Kuzima.
Yeah, Kuzima. Yeah,
And that means again what in Swahili?
it means like extinguished or put out, and it goes against he was a extinguished.
Is this your favorite character now?
He's one of my favorites. I'm not gonna lie. I fell in love with this character. I did not know how much I would. You make a character like okay, but then like you play and be like, oh
Yeah.
But honestly, I love Zawadi more than I love Kuzima because Zawadi's just the cutest little salamander, and he just loves everyone.
Yeah, like I think I'm gonna make a couple. Like I got a goblin I love who like starts bar fights. I'm tempted. I'm tempted by the Dragonborn. I'm very tempted by Aarakocra Owl now.
Look, make it happen. Make it happen. Especially if they're Aarakocra like really creepy and their entire head just
yeah, around. I mean that's like
you was talking shit.
Oh my god, in a bar.
Right? Just be at the bar top, like, I heard that.
That is the scariest Aarakocra I've ever seen.
Oh, that's actually really good.
One of the best moments of my life. I was on my honeymoon and we were in Scotland and we'd never been overseas before. Well, Megan had, but I'd never been. So everything was like, oh my god, Scotland. And but we got to mess with owls. And this giant one called Flash was on my arm, and its head was as big as mine, and we just stared at each other. And I'm like, I don't want to ever leave this moment. I'm just gonna spend this time with this owl.
I love it. Owls are really cute.
They're amazing. Thank you so much, Mega Jones, Critical Bard, for being on the show. Sure. You are everywhere all the time now. Seems like 24/7 on demand.
Kinda, and I'm hoping keep that energy.
What all are you doing this week? What are you promoting? Do you have a Patreon? Do you have a Twitch handle you would like to promote?
Yeah, I'm Critical Bard across all social media except Twitch. On Twitch, I'm Critical Bard _ because someone has Critical Bard and aren't using it right now. It makes me mad.
I know that feeling.
It makes me so mad. But it's okay, so I'm Critical Bard _ someone asked me Waluigi. I am the Waluigi of the TTRPG community. Actually, even better. Let's do this real quick.
Get the real hat.
No, even better.
Oh my god. I didn't even know they made those.
But wow. I'm the creator of the Black AF Roundtable. You can catch those on my channel on the VODs. There's one on D&D Live on the D&D page. And they're also all on YouTube, if that's easier for you. I just started a show called In Unison, where it's a talk show where me and a special guest come together and we just kind of talk about anything. Doesn't have to be super serious. Mm-hmm. Our last guest on the premiere episode was Brian Foster. Next week is going to be Gabe Hicks, Gabe James Games, who also created the new way of putting modifiers onto your class versus race. Really cool. Love them. They're going to be fun. I also created 2 things in DM's Guild. I have the College of Acapella, which is the bardic subclass that allows you to basically be the soloist and the backup all in one. You can summon spectral duplicates of yourself to basically harmonize with you, and they can do certain things like augment certain things or diminish certain things. Really cool. There's my first one. It's not perfect, but it's what I love. And I also just released a barbarian path called the Path of the Belter. And all of my subclasses are based around music and what this primordial force of called music would do for each subclass. And for barbarians, when they rage, they belt. And basically, they can shatter you. They can Fus Rudal you with their voice.
Yes. Oh, nice. Yeah.
They can create like sound barriers with their allies when they're raged, so they can get some also assistance with some bludgeoning, slashing, and piercing damage. They're a lot of fun. They are currently at my heart. I have other ones coming out. Yeah, that's really what I'm doing. I don't really have a Patreon. I had a Patreon, but it's super inactive. But I do have a coffee. Support that way if you really want to. But yeah, that's that. I guessed a lot. Oh, I'm tomorrow. You can catch me on Vancouver by Night. We are doing a charity stream where we're all vampires, obviously. But it's gonna be really fun. It's super late, but it's still gonna be a good time. That includes Matthew Mercer, China DePass, Kelly Butler, B. Dave Walters, myself, Cynthia Marie, a lot of cool people in the community. And then on Sunday, well, throughout the weekend, there's the D&D block party, and I am part of B. Dave's epic level 20
Oh
cast, where you
wow,
will actually be able to see a level 20 druidic only Kuzima.
that's gonna be intense. There
Yeah.
will be fire.
Oh,
All
there's gonna
right.
be more than fire. I'm gonna say this right now, and I don't care if he's watching. I can shape change. I didn't say wild shape. I can shape change.
Yeah.
Be ready.
You will be
So
the fire.
yes. Someone asked, tomorrow, Friday at 8 p.m. Pacific is when it starts, and then it
Mhm.
goes through there. It's gonna be late because it's gonna be 10 o'clock for me, but it's gonna be cool.
It's gonna be fantastic. All right, thank you so much, Omega Jones, also known as Critical Bard. Thank you so much for being on the show. We will see you later. All right, thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye. Wah.